Hey, hello, my friend. Welcome to the channel. Here's the hard truth that none of us like to hear, but it is the truth. I would say that probably 90 to 95% of talented artists will never make the career change to a full-time artist. It is kind of what it is. And it's not about talent or it's not about just getting lucky. And after helping artists for the last 10 years, hundreds of artists, through my program, The Artist Next Level, I've discovered the real reasons most artists get stuck and stay stuck for years and years and years. And I also have discovered the exact system that can help you beat the odds. My name is Sergio Gomez. I'm an artist, curator, gallery owner, author, and co-founder of the Art Next Level program. And my goal with this channel is to make marketing and art business easy so that you can grow your art career, find new opportunities, sell more art, and spend more time creating in the studio. So if you like that, make sure you click on the subscribe button and click on the little bell so that you receive notifications of our future videos. So let me tell you something. Every week I talk to at least one artist who's been stuck in their day job, for the last 5 years, 10 years, sometimes even to 25, 30 years. And they say, Sergio, I've been trying, but I just cannot do it. I just cannot seem to find the way out. I know I got the talent. I got this passion inside of me that's burning out, wants to get out and make art, but I'm afraid, or, I don't know how to do it, or, the art world is against me, or the algorithms don't like me. I mean, there's a number of things, a number of reasons why, artists get stuck and they really, really want to succeed, but they find a hard time. Because I was there myself at some point, right? It was something that took me years to really get ahead. I spent the first 7 years of my professional life working for a marketing and advertising company, which I loved it at the start. It was awesome, but then I realized that it was taking all my time. By the time I got home after my job, I was tired. I was also recently married. We had moved to a new place. We had a baby. So, I was just exhausted. I only made art on the weekends, and what I made, I was okay with, but I wasn't really excited about. I knew I had the potential for more. So what I end up doing is I talk to my wife and say, hey, this is not working for me. I'm miserable. Let's do something else. So I went back to school. I got my MFA, and my dream was, okay, I'm going to start teaching full-time so I get the summer off. And I'm going to make all the art I can in the summer and then go back to work for the rest of the year. It's going to be awesome. So I did that for actually 13 years. I was teaching at the college level. And although it was great, I really loved teaching, but pretty quickly I learned that teaching is not the only thing you do, when you are in higher ed. You got meetings, you got after hour, things that you gotta do. You got committees that you have to be part of, and the list goes on and on and on. I became supervisor for my department, so that also had more work for me, more responsibilities. And the same thing started to happen. I would get home exhausted, tired, really hard to concentrate on making what I really wanted. And yes, although I had the summer off, it wasn't really enough. I wanted to create my own, life as an artist every single day, not just in summertime. So my friend, if you're watching this, you probably create great art, but you still can't figure out how to turn that into a full-time art career. So I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna start, my friend, by sharing with you what I consider are like the 3 killers of an artist's dream. Okay, the 3 killers of an artist's dream. 3 things that, as I talk to more artists and as I coach others, I know these are 3 things that, are really getting on the way from you to achieving the dream of becoming a full-time artist. Number 1, first killer, is the perfect moment myth. This is a big one. Most artists are waiting to be the perfect moment, to be in the right moment at the right time. Perfect savings, perfect market conditions, perfect portfolio, perfect website, perfect number of collectors. But here's what I've learned over the years and after coaching hundreds of artists. Perfect doesn't exist. Perfect never comes. Prepared does. Preparing to transition, preparing an exit strategy is what makes the difference. Because if you wait for perfection, you're going to be waiting all your life as an artist. I've seen artists with 20, 25 years of experience in their art, making art and wonderful art, still saying, I'm waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for the perfect condition. I'm not ready yet. And my friend, when you have that perfect mentality moment, it's going to take you forever. If ever you decide to make the change, because you will never have the perfect conditions. I believe that you have to prepare. You have to create a strategy that can help you get there. That's what I did. As an artist, when I was in my teaching job and I said, this is not enough for me. I really want to have full freedom so I can work in my studio and do the art that I love and create my own schedule. And if I want to teach, I'll teach whatever I want. That's why I ended up creating a coaching program, because I wanted to teach what I love, not what other people told me to teach. And I wanted to do it in my time, when I had extra time, so that I would never leave my studio behind. So, what I had to do is I had to sit down and create a strategy, a roadmap to help me get there, right? Because the perfect moment never came. All right, the second killer of an artist's dream is what I call the lone wolf trap. The lone wolf trap happens to most of us at some point. Artists think that they have to figure out the entire business, the whole thing, completely by themselves. Like, I'm going to make my own mistakes. I'm going to do it my way. And that's a mentality. But every successful artist I know had guidance and had some sense of community. They surrounded themselves by other people. So if you have a unique vision and a unique mission as an artist, that's an amazing thing. But a mission by itself, in isolation is not enough. You have to surround yourself with the right people. If the artists that you are surrounding yourself with right now, they're not encouraging you, they are pushing you back. They say, oh, you'll never make it. Oh, it's impossible to make a living out of art. It's not worth it. Well, most likely you're going to believe that, and that's going to be your story as well. Versus if you surround yourself by artists who have already done it, who are successful, who have made that transition from a day job or a part-time or a full-time into the life career of an artist full-time, they will, also give you the energy and the and really the enthusiasm to say, if they did it, I can do it myself. And that's what you need. You need to be surrounded by the right people. Let's go to killer number 3, right? The third thing that kills an artist's dream to ever become a successful independent artist. This is a big one as well. It's huge, actually. I call this one the hobby artist mindset in a business world. Okay, the hobby artist mindset in a business world. Because if you know me, I always say this: everything starts in the mind. Most battles are won in the mind first before you do anything out in the world, right? So the mindset is very important, and what you believe is very important. You can't hobby your way into an art career. And let me explain this one further. Most non-full-time artists spend 90% of their time creating art and only 10% in the business part of it. And it's obvious because you don't have a whole lot of time for your art, so you're like, I'm going to spend every little time I have just making the art. So what happens is that you're going to spend all your time making the art and you'll never be ready. You'll never have what you need to do to set up your art business properly in order to make that transition, right? In reality, full-time artists, we have also flipped that ratio, especially when you start in your art career. You got to spend time marketing your art. In other words, letting other people know what you make, right? Sharing it with the world. That takes time. Networking with other people, that takes time. It's important to network with others. Setting up your business processes and tools so that you can be out there, your website, your social media. Those things take time. So if you're spending all your time just making art, you're not leaving any room for you to create your business. So you have this kind of hobby artist mentality. I'm just going to make the art and everything will be happy. No, you got to take proactive action in the business side of things. That's something that I had to learn to do. And what I did actually, because I didn't, just like you, probably I didn't have, many available hours as I was in transition, to make art. So I decided, well, I'm going to be 100% committed to my art, but what I'm going to do in order to start doing more for my art business and getting ready, because I don't want to shorten my studio time, what I actually end up doing is I had to learn to say no to things that were not important but were in my schedule. Things that, watching another Netflix show. Well, I could use that time for something related to my art business, right? Or instead of staying home on a Friday night, actually making the time, to go and attend an art opening, being part of the local art community, to be seen and to be remembered, right? In other words, I started to say no to other things so that I could say yes to more of the art business that needed to be taken care of without compromising my studio practice. So the big question is, how do we beat the ads, Sergio? Okay, I agree, those are awesome, but how do we beat those ads so that I can actually become a successful, independent, on my own full-time artist? Well, I'm going to give you three simple strategies that you can do, right? Three things that everyone watching this video can start doing right now. The first one that I want to share with you is what I call the strategic transition time. Again, the strategic transition time. Start with the 20% rule. In other words, dedicate 20% of your time to business development while keeping your day job. Set a specific monthly income milestones before you make the leap and not arbitrary timelines. In other words, take your calendar and say, okay, by next month, I want to get this much done in my business-wise. I want to have my website up, for example. I want to make sure I save, this much, so that I'm going to watch how I spend my money, so that you start creating these markers, these timelines in your calendar that are going to help you eventually make the leap. The easiest part is to quit the job. Say, okay, I'm going to quit tomorrow. And hey, yeah, that's easy. Now, what are you going to do after that? How are you going to become sustainable? That is the difficult part, and particularly how you're going to become sustainable over time. I coach many artists who have come to me and say, Sergio, I was full-time at some point, had to go back to work, and now I'm trying to get back at it. How do I do it, right? So you want to, from the start, be able to become sustainable. So the strategic transition timeline, super important. If it's not in your calendar, it's invisible and probably it's never going to happen. Number two, again, on how to beat the odds. And these are strategies that are going to help you, transition into a full-time art career. Number two is mission-driven community. Super important. Every artist has a mission in this world. Yeah, and you have probably heard me say you are an artist on a mission, but you need the right support system and emotional wellness practices to fulfill this mission, right? You need to be surrounded by the right people. And that is exactly why I created the Art Next Level program, because besides being a coaching program and give you the mindset tools that you need and the practice tools and the business tools, we also infuse community. We work with artists from around the world where we gather online. We have our own online space and an app, where you can engage with others, where you can connect with others, where we can work with you, where we can make community. So you can be surrounded by people left and right who are in the same journey, who want the same things as you want. Not only that, but also with artists that have already done it, who are successfully every day working in their studio. You need to have access to those people, because transformation happens in community with proper guidance. Let me give you number three, okay? This is another strategy that is going to help you beat the odds if you want to transition into a full-time art career. The third one, also very important. I call this one business systems over art value. Okay, business systems over art value. Yes, like I said, you want to be dedicated to your art. You want to put a lot of emphasis and a lot of time in your art making. However, you also got to create business systems that will allow you, to give you the time to be in the studio while at the same time growing your art business. You got to master these three systems first. First one, consistent revenue streams. Every artist needs to know and understand revenue streams, meaning that yes, selling your art is one revenue stream, but sometimes that might not be enough. Sometimes as an artist, you'll have ups and downs, seasons in which, man, you're selling a lot and it's awesome, feast and famine. And then you have seasons in which art sales go down for whatever reason. There are 10,000, I could make a whole video on why, sales may go down in your art business. But for that, you gotta have some revenue streams already set in place so that one thing goes down, you have another one that continues up, or sometimes they all go up at the same time, and that is awesome. That creates you some extra cash that you can plan them for the future. So, it's super important to have consistent revenue streams. And I'm talking revenue streams that relate to your art, not something that, oh, just get a part-time job at a local restaurant. That's not a revenue stream related to your art. I'm talking about art-related revenue streams. Also, another business system that you need, second one, is emotional resilience practices. Because the reality is that when you are on your own, it is very difficult to be your own boss. Many artists don't know how to do that. It sounds easy, but it is not. When you have no deadlines, when you have to put everything in the calendar, when you have to be super organized, you need that emotional support that's going to help you in the bad days, when you have those bad days, to stay on task, to stay positive, to have the right mindset, to say, yes, I can do it. You got to have emotional resilience practices. And inside our next level, Dr. Yanina Gomez is awesome. She's an author, she's a psychologist, and she helps us, all artists, to stay positive, to create and have and grow. Really, you have to grow that mental resilience capacity, emotional resilience capacity that we all need. And the third business system that you need to have in place, that you need to understand and master, I would say, is efficient studio practice. You got to be super efficient in your studio. You cannot afford to just waste time. You really have to be efficient in your studio practice. How you spend your time, how you use your time, when do you need some help, what kind of things you need to do when an artwork is finished so that it's properly documented and shared and all those things. Those are systems that you put into place, right? So these three systems will allow you to create, a business that is robust and that is set to grow over time as you transition from a part-time to a full-time art career. So if you are done waiting and waiting and waiting, and you are ready to build your full-time art career with a proven system, I've created a totally free resource that maps out how to create an exit strategy, because every one of you, if you are in transition, if you're not a full-time artist yet, you need an exit strategy from where you are now, an exit door before you enter into a new season, into a new door, right? As a full-time artist, you need an exit strategy. So I created this totally free PDF resource that's called the 5 Steps to Craft Your Exit Strategy. Totally free, everyone can have it. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. Also, I'm going to pin it at the top of the comments, so go check it out. It's free. And tell me also in the comments what's been the biggest thing that's holding you back from making your career transition or your career change. I'm going to read every single comment. I'm going to take the time to respond to it. But wait, before you leave this video, if you are an artist who wants to grow your art career and wants to achieve greater success, make sure you check out the Art Next Level program. You will find a link under this video. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the next video that we have recommended just for you.